Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you. The Morning Majority, 6:30.
WMAL.
7:37 on the Morning Majority. We have Bill Kristol of the Weekly Standard here. How you doing, Bill?
Hey, Mary Catherine, fine. How are you?
Good to talk to you. So I'm reading the Weekly Standard, and I come across Bill Kristol floating a Veep consideration for one frontrunner, Rick Perry. Who you got in mind?
Well, I was struck by this news story yesterday that New Mexico Governor Susana Martinez, whom I've only met once and seems quite impressive, newly elected in 2010, renewed her concealed carry pistol permit. This is something close to your heart, Mary Catherine.
Yes.
I don't know about whether the two Bryans are also as adept marksmen as you are.
No, we're not. Well, at least I'm not.
Speak for yourself.
I'll speak by myself.
Don't mess with Mary Catherine. I was with her in Quantico. They gave us a courtesy tour when she was at the Weekly Standard, but a dozen of us went down there, and she was the best marksman of all of us, which isn't saying much, but nonetheless, she was very good. Anyway, Susana Martinez, the governor of New Mexico, renewed her concealed carry permit and seems to have gotten a perfect score on the pistol range, which I guess you have to go to every 2 years to get your permit renewed. And, of course, Rick Perry famously shot a coyote that was menacing his puppy. So we could have two concealed carry candidates. Perry Martinez. It's not a bad ticket, actually. Man and a woman, Anglo and Hispanic, an experienced governor and a new governor. New Mexico's a swing state, so I'm half in jest here, but I kind of like the idea of two concealed carry candidates, pistol packing Pauls, running against Obama and Biden. I think I came up with a slogan for them on the website. Hands up, not handouts.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Political discourse for this week, or maybe this month.
Right. The power to freak out liberals on this ticket would be so great.
Right.
So what is Susana Martinez your new Sarah Palin? Because
exactly. No, I knew someone was going to say that, and I would have to. I'm not pushing anything. I'm just putting her out there for people to take a look at.
All right.
Bill, I'm just wondering, are you over the disappointment? I mean, I would imagine that given how hard you pushed Paul Ryan to get into the race, that right now you must be going through a bit of depression, maybe seeking out a little help, a little therapy. Are you okay, Bill?
No, so what are those, the 7 stages or 5 stages of grieving? I can't remember anymore. No, I'm in the middle of that. Look, Paul decided not to run last Monday, called me and called a lot of people and put out a press release saying he wasn't going to run. And the next day we had an earthquake. Later in the week we had a storm. So God has clearly expressed his displeasure with Paul's disappointment maybe with Paul's decision. I've pointed that out to him, but he seems not to be changing his mind.
Now, do you get the sense that he might be open to the idea of running as a running mate?
Yeah, I think he would be.
Wow.
All right, I got the sense from watching you guys last night on Brett's show on a special report that we all of a sudden believe it's just a two-person race between Mitt Romney and Rick Perry. Have we forgotten about Michelle Bachmann? Can she not win this thing?
Yeah, I mean that is sort of the way the discussion went. No, I think the tendency now is towards a Perry Romney race. But I've learned one thing in politics, which is we're still before Labor Day, and people come up surge over the next 3-4 months. People can even get in the race over the next 3-4 months, and we haven't talked much about, or who are allegedly second tier. No one thought Huckabee was going to win Iowa at this point, and very few people did in 2007. Howard Dean. I mean, there are lots of people who have a very good the year before, the nominating year. So I don't think Michelle Bachmann's out of it at all. She's been a pretty formidable campaigner. You got to be impressed by the Perry surge, though. He got in the race, weeks ago, and now he's leading pretty much in all the national polls.
Yeah, CNN has him up at 32, Romney 18.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Now, a political consultant I know pointed this out to me on Friday, I guess, for having breakfast. He said the Perry thing is both a testimony to his strength and also a possible weakness, in the sense that it shows that the idea of Rick Perry is compelling to a lot of Republican primary voters, a job-creating governor of a big state who's a populist, et cetera, et cetera. Most of these people who are saying there for Perry, I would guess, have never seen him. I mean, literally, you've probably never seen him on TV at an interview, give a speech, just because he hasn't been that much of a national player for the last bunch of years. So it's not like when you say you're for Dole or Bush or McCain, this is the guy who's run for president before. People who say that for him really know him, sort of. So I think Perry, a lot depends on his performance. And I think that debate on September 7th at the Reagan Library, I think it is pretty important for him. I mean, if the reality of Rick Perry is anything close to as good as the idea of Rick Perry, he'll be very formidable. If not, then there's plenty of room for Michelle Bachmann and others, and room even possibly for someone else to get in the race, I'd say.
Bill, there's several polls showing that there's pretty bad news for Obama's disapproval rating higher than ever. And then there was a CNN poll showing that 27% of Democrats wouldn't mind having another candidate. I don't know if they're just expressing pique. And then he keeps... Actually, the African-American activist community and him seem to be in sort of an open quibbling season going on here, which that's one of his greatest boons in the 2012 election, presumably. Does it mean anything that the left is mad about this stuff?
I'm not sure. You've got to assume that everyone on the left rallies to the president, if there's a Perry or Romney or any other Republican nominee challenge, seriously threatening to win the presidency in 2012. I do think it is a little surprising that there hasn't been even a sort of nominal primary challenge to Obama. If you're on the left, you're pretty disappointed. People on the right did challenge Nixon. They challenged in 72. They challenged Bush, of course, in 92. Pat Buchanan. You'd think someone out there would just figure it's not a bad idea to sort of lay down a marker and try to keep liberal ideas alive. But I think maybe it's a sign of the weakness, really, of liberalism. I mean, they don't even have enough confidence to challenge a president who, from their point of view, has either been kind of ineffective or has compromised.
But where do you think that forces the president to go? Does he go to the left because he's getting so much heat from his base, or does he go more towards the middle in the next 15 months?
Well, I think that's a decision he's got to make. If I were advising him, I would say, at the end of the day, you could ignore. He coming from the left wing of the Democratic Party, unlike George H.W. Bush, who didn't come from the conservative wing of the Republican Party and was open to sort of suspicion, I think Obama's strong enough that he probably can afford to go to the center, and that's what I would do if I were he. But it's clear when you watch the White House, they're nervous when they get this criticism from the left, and I think it is affecting their judgments.
All right, Bill, one quick question. We just got a few seconds left. Do you think the president has a plan yet?
For what?
Well, he's supposed to announce his plan.
For the economy.
For the economy.
For the economy, I thought you meant maybe for improving his golf game. The other thing is he's spending more time on. I think he has the same old plan, and I don't think, unfortunately, for the economy and for the country, it's not a plan that works.
All right, Bill, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks.